Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi everyone, CeeChronicles here. Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I post fragrance related content on this platform, guys, and would very much appreciate it if you did consider subscribing. Now, if you're returning, thank you so much for the continued support. Please check out my second channel, CeeChronicles Unscripted, where I focus on my life outside fragrance reviews. I'm going to put a banner of that channel on the side of the screen for ease of reference, but the link is in the description of my channel. I also created a PayPal link, guys, in that description where you can click and follow prompts if you'd like to donate towards some of the purchases of fragrances on this channel. Why I created that link is because of geographic location. I am located in Zimbabwe, and because of that, it's very hard to get sponsorships, paid promotions, partnerships, affiliate links, and we do not have a thank you button, so I rely solely on AdSense. Now, welcome to today's video. I did bring you Qahwa in a video not so long ago, right? So this is a new addition to my collection, and because I have the original Qahwa, I thought to bring the two and do a compare and contrast, because I feel it's going to be beneficial if you do not have either, or if you're wondering which one to buy, or if you have one and if you're wondering whether you need the other. I'm going to start with what these fragrances have in common. So this is going to be what is familiar in both fragrances. Both fragrances are built on a liqueur, or they have a liqueur backdrop. So do expect boozy accords from both. Both fragrances can come across as a bit cloying there. Both are warm and spicy, centering especially on that cinnamon note. Both of them are winter leaning, and both of them are woody to an extent, and both of them have, to my nose, what feels like a shared date note, although Qahwa does not list that. Now, lastly, both fragrances feel like an extension of each other. What do I mean by an extension of each other? Lattafa is notorious for bringing extensions and extensions and extensions of fragrances, like how they bottled Yara. Okay, they did the original Yara, and then there was Yara Tous, and then there was Yara Moi. But those three fragrances didn't feel like an extension of each other. Now, these feel like sister fragrances in the sense that the DNA of the original Qahwa is very present in this Qahwa. So you've got to love the original Qahwa, maybe for you to appreciate this. Now I'm going to isolate the differences, right? When it comes to the original Qahwa, when it was created, I did bring it here, guys, and said I felt that this DNA was inspired by Angel's Share without necessarily this one being an Angel's Share dupe. It did feel as though it was that particular fragrance that made Lattafa create their own rendition, right? So this feels a lot like, you know, a rendition of Angel's Share. But because I said it's very similar to this, you're going to get a reminiscence of that in Qahwa as well. Now, what sets these fragrances apart, guys, I'm going to say just 2 or 3 notes. Now, Qahwa is supposed to mean coffee. So most of us jumped on board for this particular fragrance because of that coffee note. Now, what I can say about it is, yes, it does incorporate the coffee note, but it is mostly about the ginger and that cardamom, light minty tone of that cardamom that adds a twist to this fragrance. Now, guys, listen very careful to this part. If you are not well versed with a lot of fragrances, or you're not crazy about fragrances like myself, as in you smell fragrances as a hobby, you might not be able to discern those differences, because the woodiness in this, the warm spiciness in this is so overpowering in a good way, to an extent that maybe extracting just that ginger note together with that cardamom note and a very faint coffee will be something that you find very difficult to pick from this, leaving you thinking, what is really the differences between these two fragrances? Now, I'm going to give you an example to bring it closer to home, right? I could come and say this fragrance has got a crisp apple note. Now, the DNA of this fragrance and this, remember I said they do share, you know, like 70% similarity there. Now, the DNA of both fragrances, because they're very woody toned there, very spicy toned there, may overshadow your nasal palette, you know, from being able to extract an apple. Okay, to an extent that you'll just be stuck on the woodiness of the two fragrances or on the spiciness of the two fragrances. So that's why at the beginning of this video, I had to make it outright clear that you've got to love cinnamon, you've got to love both fragrances, you've got to appreciate the original Khamrah for you to appreciate this one. Now, what Lattafa has done with this, guys, when it comes to those differences is, it does seem like Lattafa did choose to jump on the coffee bandwagon. But contrary to what I, especially, I'm going to speak for myself, thought Lattafa had done, that they would have given us a dark roast of a coffee, just looking at the darkness of the bottle there at the bottom. What I thought they would have presented as like a raw toasted type of coffee, that's not what you're going to get from this fragrance, guys. Instead, this fragrance interprets as that coffee just working there as a very softened, you know, very softened, almost polite, you know, whiff that you get through the fragrance without making it about without making the fragrance center on the coffee note. So those are the differences, guys. Just that light fizzy aromatic ginger twist, and that light coffee note, as well as a very light minty tone, is the differences between these two fragrances, guys. Both fragrances, to my nose, are unisex. Both fragrances are winter leaning, you know, with, of course, a provision to extend to other seasons. What I can say stands out to me, say for instance you were wondering which one to go for and you did not own Khamrah at all, is I would say possibly start with the Qahwa, because the Qahwa does feel a lot like Khamrah, but an exciting kind of fragrance with a lot of pages than what the original Khamrah has, right? So if you didn't have the original Khamrah, I'd say go for the Qahwa, because this one has got pages where it opens up and you feel it going from one, transitioning from one phase to the other, where this is sort of like a linear presentation. That burst, that woody cinnamon burst, boozy tone of a fragrance that you get is what holds on from start to finish. So this has got like an exciting twist to it, those pages. I also feel to my nose as though the vanilla in this one is quite amplified. It could be the praline, but there is something here that feels very sweetened as opposed to the original Khamrah. So I get a little bit of a sweet twist to this. Both of them are nichey and both are high quality in terms of how they, you know, present to the nose, in terms of how refined they are. So they're not fragrances that smell cheap or synthetic to my nose, but there is just that twist. Now, this one dries down way later. Remember, this is way later, because both fragrances last till the next wash, to like a powdery kind of musky thing, while this one just has the same thing going on, just toning it down until the end. Those are some of the differences, guys, I can say separate these two fragrances. But are they so different enough you need both? It's gonna depend on whether or not you are obsessed with the Khamrah DNA. If you already have Khamrah and you're not big at deciphering or, you know, distinguishing notes, then I would say instead of blind buying this one, go and sniff it first. If you got the original Khamrah, you may want to test this. If you got the original Khamrah and it's running low and you just want to try something different, you can absolutely try this. It's not going to disappoint you because it vibes the same. Ratio wise, I'm going to say 70% the same, with a very light toned coffee there, a very light minty tone, and to my nose an amplified ginger note there that makes it different. both leave a trail. Age-wise, these, to my nose, have got somewhat of a mature tone to them. So maybe if you're under 20, you may want to go and sniff them, unless you've had, you know, your nose on a lot of fragrances. Both do not have that outright Middle Eastern, like a oudi thing going on in them. Although, of course, if you are one of those people that identify spicy fragrances or overly spicy fragrances as Middle Eastern, then you might find them having a whiff of a Middle Eastern tone to them. But I do not get that. The two fragrance list florals, but you can disregard that. The white florals are buried, they're barely visible, okay? They both translate as warm, spicy fragrances that you need to possibly go easy on the trigger on there, because they are quite strong. The lasting power, guys, on the skin for this one is very remarkable, and it actually gets better and better. You get to have that whiff of, you know, this fragrance way later when you've completely forgotten about it, which of course I feel is what this one does as well. So yeah, that is what I can say, guys, in terms of comparing and contrasting these fragrances. Did we need Qahwa? Maybe, yeah. I just feel Lattafa did it right this time. They didn't, you know, go with the flow and give us a creamy coffee in your face type of roasted coffee type of situation. They decided to create their own fragrance with that coffee tone without really making the coffee the center stage, which is what you get from this, guys. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we obviously discuss more about fragrances. Do turn on post notifications on both channels, which is this one and CeeChronicles Unscripted. If you have subscribed to that channel, that way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, guys, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.